In this video, I'll be showing you the 4 steps to determine where to invest your money depending on your financial goals. Whether you are looking to buy a house, invest for the future, or saving for retirement. As a bonus, I'll also be providing some actual portfolio distribution examples, so stay tuned for that. Hi everyone, my name is Hank, and on this channel I'll be talking about Kiwi personal finance. If this type of content might be useful to you, be sure to subscribe and tap that like button. Now let's get it started. The first step is to work out your investment time frame. Have a think about why you are investing and what you are investing for. Are you looking to buy a house in the near future? Are you close to retirement and want to protect your assets? Or are you in your 20s and want to invest for the future? Investment time frame can be roughly separated into 3 different time periods. For short-term investment, we are looking at 0 to 5 years, and an example of that would be if you want to purchase a new house within the next 5 years. Medium-term investment is considered of around 5 to 10 years. An example of that would be saving for your retirement in 10 years' time. Long-term investments have a time frame of more than 10 years, and an example of that would be if you are investing for your future. The second step is to work out your risk tolerance. We can roughly separate risk tolerance into 3 different categories. So if you have low risk tolerance, you don't really want to see your investments go down at all, and you are okay with getting less return in exchange. Low risk investments such as cash funds, term deposits, notice savers are your best options here. These are also known as conservative or defensive investments. Cash assets historically have a pretty low return rate, and the best that you can hope for is probably just to match the inflation rate. The second bracket is medium risk tolerance. If you are in this bracket, you are okay with seeing your investments go up and down slightly, and you are looking for a higher return than cash investments. Medium risk investments often include bonds and bond funds. The next category is high risk tolerance. If you have high risk tolerance, you are looking for a high potential return on your investments. In this situation, high growth shares are possibly your best investment option. Keep in mind that shares may be down 1 year and up for the next 2, but over the long term, it would have a much higher return than cash or bond investments. As a general rule, short investment time frame matches with low risk investments, and long investment time frame matches with high risk investments, since you have a longer period of time to weather the downturns. But ultimately, your risk tolerance will determine the type of assets that you choose to invest in. Of course, you can always put your money into high-risk investments, even if you have a short investment time. But you do risk losing a significant portion of your portfolio if you needed to withdraw the money immediately. The third step is to determine where to allocate your assets. Here we're going to look at some real-life examples of asset allocation. In situation number 1, John is 30 years old and looking to purchase a new home within the next 3 years. Where can he allocate his assets? In this situation, the time frame is relatively short, so we want to look for a corresponding low-risk investment option. A possible option would be a notice saver type account where you can constantly top up with more funds into your account and still be able to withdraw the money when you need it. Check out the link in the description below for a website with all the current notice saver and on-call interest rates for all the major banks. In situation number 2, Lucy is 55 years old and she is looking to retire at 65 in 10 years. How should she allocate her assets? Traditional financial advisors often advocate the 100 minus your age model, in which your percentage shares distribution is equal to 100 minus your age, and then you would fill the rest of the percentage with bonds. This is so that as people age, we want to shift into more stable assets such as bonds for higher certainty and lower probability. In this example, Lucy is 55 years old and she would put 100 minus 55, which equals to 45% of her portfolio in shares and the remaining 55% in bonds. However, due to advances in modern medical science and greater awareness in healthy eating and exercise, the majority of population tend to live longer these days. So an updated modern age model has often been adopted to use 120 minus your current age instead of 100. Under this model, Lucy would use 120 minus 55, which equals 65% shares in her portfolio, and then fill in the remaining 35% with bonds. I'll have a link to my video on the best funds to invest in the top corner and also in the description below. In situation number 3, Steve is 22 and he's just finished his university or college degree and started on his new job. He's planning on investing $100 into the share market per week over the long term to grow his wealth. How should he distribute his assets? Under the modern age model, Steve would put 120 minus 22, which gives 98, which is around 100% of his assets into shares. He would only really start considering bonds when he's around 25 to 30 years old. Now, what happens if one year shares start doing really well and start skewing the share to bond percentage of your portfolio? This is where the 4th step, rebalancing portfolio, comes in. So the first question is, why do we even want to rebalance a portfolio? This is done for 2 main reasons. One is to reduce risk, and the second is to combat human nature. Have you ever heard of the term buy low, sell high? It seems like the most obvious thing ever, yet when it comes to investments, so many people do the complete opposite to that. We always have a tendency to want to get in on the latest hot commodity as the price is rising, whether it be shares, properties, Bitcoin, or whatever, and only to panic sell when the market crashes and everyone wants to get out. By rebalancing your portfolio periodically, you can force yourself into the good habit of buy low, sell high, and not be affected by market emotions. If percentage allocation of shares in your portfolio becomes higher because the shares are doing really well, you can sell some, aka sell high. If the percentage becomes lower, you can buy more, aka buy low. With that being said, rebalancing portfolio should be done sparingly, and once per year is a good frequency to aim for. So to sum up, there are 4 steps to determine where to invest your money. Number 1, determine your investment time frame. Number 2, work out your risk tolerance. Number 3, plan out your asset allocation. And number 4, rebalance your portfolio periodically. I hope this video has given you some clarity on where to invest your money. Check out my other videos if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.